Welcome back, folks and friends. Connecting Dots 2 here. We are Sunday, May 28, 2017. And I figured to make this video because, well, we have some concerned citizens on YouTube who have sent me some emails regarding the Fukushima frauds. These guys will not stop, folks. It doesn't matter how many videos I put out. It's sad, but they won't stop. And I guess I'm the only one out here, or one of the very few from what I can see, who are willing to make a video to debunk their bullshit, and I will not stop. It's a passion of mine. I want the truth as much as you do, and one of the things you'll notice if you're new around here, I'm not into showing my face. It's all about the articles. So let's jump right into it. So if you're someone new here and you believe that everything's dead in the Pacific Ocean, please go watch this video. I went right up to Dana's beach. I debunked his lies in less than 24 hours, right on Dana's own beach in Powell River, British Columbia, Canada. Okay, his bugs are all dead and they're all missing, and there's no fish and there's no birds anywhere to be seen. All lies. Even when I wake up first thing in the morning, there's a bald eagle sitting on top of a sailboat mast, and with a kingfisher about to dive into the water to go grab another fish. I mean, that's upon waking at 7 o'clock in the morning, or 6:30 it was. I can't remember. Go watch the video. It's an hour and 8 minutes long. And this one here, Pacific Blob. This is, again, this is information that no one on YouTube will ever dare present as far as the people that do the Fukushima stuff. Why? Because those of you that are able to connect the dots, you would quickly realize, Houston, we have a problem right here in the Pacific Ocean. This is back in 2015, 2016. If you haven't heard of the Pacific Blob, please take some time and get yourself informed. As I said, I'm one of the very few people who will take their time to actually connect the dots so you can get informed on what's going on. And more recently, just a month ago, I made a clear connection with the fact that we've had this ongoing drought, and there's an interactive map right there. That's what you're watching in the thumbnail. There's an interactive map that goes over the years, goes forward from what, I think from 2008 or something like that, or 2000, I can't remember exactly. You go watch the video, and essentially you get to see the drought, how it works out, and it ties in directly with the salmon population. I dug up old evidence that was taken, or someone had figured out back in 1949 that every time you have a drought one year, the salmon population is affected 2 years later. Bada boom, bada bing. That's how I connected the dots and figured out that since we've had all these numerous years of droughts along the West Coast specifically, no wonder the salmon population has been under duress for the last few years. It all ties into the drought. So I made a prediction. Again, I'll say it again, due to the fact that we've had quite a bit of rain here on the West Coast in the spring of 2017, I can almost guarantee you, come back here in 2019 and I'll follow through with some more salmon videos, and you'll realize, shit, the guy's got it. And it's not that I got it, it's some guy that figured it out back in 1949. I just share with you the article from 1949 to let you know that they figured out the salmon population is affected 2 years after the drought. We've had numerous years. That's why they've been under attack. And more recently, as I said, the Pacific Blob that actually heated up. It changed the temperature in the Pacific Ocean, that created havoc amongst many species of fish that are reliant on having a stable environment. If you ever had an aquarium in your home, possibly you're already aware that, they even tell you when you change the water in your aquarium, you're only supposed to change a certain percentage of it so that you don't send your fish into shock, so they can die off. You don't want them dying off. Well, that's what happened in the Pacific Ocean. It was shock time with the Pacific Blob. What can I say? You want the truth, you're going to have to come here to Connecting Dots too. As I said, I'm the only one who's got these Geiger counters, who's been doing radiation monitoring since the very beginning, the very first day when the tsunami hit. A couple of months later, went out and bought 2 Geiger counters, did a cross-Canada radiation tour, and here I am continuing on here with the truth. So the truth, here's the truth, folks. Is the salmon population collapse? Because if you've been listening to Kevin Blanche, and these are the names that this is the person specifically that these people, the emails that was sent was regarding Kevin and his non-stop Pacific. I don't know if you can see this one here. It's official, he says. 95% of the Pacific Ocean is dead. And I've been telling anyone who listens to Kevin Blanch, please get yourself informed and do a search on the name Jeff Palco. Okay? Once you see what happened to Jeff Palco, those videos are all there. There's his name. I just spelled it up there. Do a search, YouTube search, and you'll see how Kevin Blanch scammed him for over $25,000. We even have Kevin Blanch's own words where he openly admits that he took the money. That was $18,500. He said he put it in a special account and it was all legal above board, and only to it turns out it was illegal. He lied. He never put the money into a special account. He scammed the guy. Go do your research on Jeff Palco. I know you care about the Pacific Ocean, but for golly, what's wrong with you people? You don't even care about another human being who happens to be, listen to me clearly, Jeff Palco was the largest donator as far as Fukushima. Seriously. The largest donator. Kevin Blanch scammed him for about $25,000. Dana Durnford scammed him for another $25,000. We have all the paperwork. As I said, go do a research on the name Jeff Palco so you can get up to speed, because I've been making videos on this story for a long time. I don't care if somebody shows their face. I'm going to tell you everything is dead, dead, dead. We've been listening to Kevin Blanch and the rest of these people talk about this for years. Okay? Pacific Ocean to be 100% closed to all fishing. 100% bullshit. As I said, he's been doing this. You can see 6 months ago, all Pacific Ocean to be closed soon. 100%. They're 100% liars. Okay, folks? So what we're going to do here is we're going to spend some time and we're going to go over some real stories. As I said, I'm not into showing my face. I want you guys to read it for yourself. Hit the space bar anytime so you can go on and read the full story. I'm just going to go over a few pages with you so you get yourself up to date. So here, ocean predators dive in for the 2017 herring season. Oh, what happened to herring? I thought they were all dead. Bumper harvest as herring returned to the Strait of Georgia, right here on British Columbia here. In great numbers, not just a few, great numbers. That was March 5th, 2017. Oh, well, that's good. I guess the herring aren't dying. Well, I thought the radiation was in the entire ocean, and therefore all fish are dead. In fact, Kevin Blanch is telling you that it's 99% or 95%, whatever. It's not 95%. Pick up your phone. Call the fish warehouse after this video is done. Okay, after you've watched this, call the local fish warehouse. In fact, call a couple of seafood restaurants and ask them, so your fish that you serve or the fish that you sell at your warehouse, the Pacific fish specifically, has the price risen by 50% or 100%? Because according to the guy on YouTube named Kevin Blanch, there's nothing left in the Pacific. It's all dead from Fukushima. Yet not a single one of them, by the way, have ever done a test. That's why I can actually brag. Hey guys, I got 2 high-end Geiger counters. I got one of them that they use at nuclear plants. It's worth roughly $3,000 back in the day when I bought it. None of these people can actually pull this shit out of their ass because they're full of shit. Okay, bumper crop of razor clams seen in Barnstable. Again, the razor clams live off the ocean, so the Fukushima tides are washing up along the Pacific Ocean. Then how come the razor clams are doing so well? Oh, they're getting a boost from all that radiation. Of course, I forgot about that. Making them grow quicker, I guess. In search of silver, BC roe herring fish carries risks and rewards. This is from March 11, 2017. I'm not going to read the entire story. I'm going for the best. The government says the herring returns to the Strait of Georgia are near historic levels this season. Historic. That's right. So, is it collapsing? Doesn't seem to be so far, at least not with the herring. And there's a chum salmon here that they were the first ones that came out in late November of 2016. So they're the first ones to come in here. And again, what? A bumper return of chum salmon to BC's south coast is flooding urban streams. Yeah, it's flooding the urban streams. There's that many of them. They're coming right up to downtown Vancouver. Yeah, imagine that. We've had a significant abundance, the biggest return in about 10 years. Oh, Kevin Blanch, I thought it was 99, 95. He's full of shit, okay? You're catching on already. Great, excellent. Okay, so what do we have here? This one here is from April 2017. Like I said, I want to share the facts with you, the true stories. And the next couple of stories, it's up and down, it's hit and miss. But again, remember what we've just gone through. So is it all Fukushima? I don't know. We don't have a single test, but what we do have is articles as it comes out. So I'm not going to, it's not about the face, it's about the articles. The Alaska pink salmon are expected to be in abundance this odd numbered year. I don't buy into that. I'm going by according to the weather. It's the habitat. So again, if you haven't watched that video, highly recommended. Interactive map. You can connect the dots and figure out the salmon population is based upon the drought. So what do we have here? We have the chum salmon are doing well, and in this one here they're talking about the average state catch data, that the average fish size here in 2016 was 3.95 pounds, almost 4 pounds last season. We can expect the year class to be similar this year, above after the adverse water conditions, that's what I was just speaking about, that hit the coast in 2016. Again, please go check out the Pacific Blob. This ties in, and you understand it's just been a double whammy here for the salmon population. Not only are they hit with the constant yearly drought that have been happening since roughly, was it 2011, 2009? You go watch the video, you'll see it for yourself. Connect the dots, get informed. There's a whole lot of red, and the map is great to get it figured out. And then they get hit with the Pacific Blob, where the Pacific Ocean is warming up, and their favorite fish food is no longer, or at least there in large numbers, so they're having to struggle. So the latest one here, Yukon king salmon run, highest since 2009. Again, this is a forecast here. The commercial fishermen were dealt some good news. With word that this year's harvest could be a bumper one. Well, is it going to be a bumper one? Again, I'm going to pull out the stories and give you the link down below so you can stay updated on this one here. But the latest one they had was from Friday, May 26 here. Alaska shutting down the spring troll season. So these are commercial fishermen here that are trolling in the South Alaska. They will be shut down a month early because of the poor king salmon runs. Again, hang on tight here. Sockeye landings pick up in the Cooper River. In the second Cooper River fishing period this week, fishermen landed 1,718 Chinook, bringing a total to 3,618 fish. Fishermen landed 59,960 sockeye salmon, bringing a Copper River total to 89,960. However, sockeye landings are 70% less in the first 2 weeks than the last 5-year average cumulative harvest for this for the same first 2 weeks. So there seems to be, at least I'm picking up from some of these stories, the fish are kind of late getting up there, is what I'm picking up here. So they've increased their restrictions in certain areas of the Cooper River, and we'll get into that here. But as you can see, it's not all gone. They're above expectations, certain place here. So Willamette Falls fish count leaps upward. Again, this is updated from May 23rd. Restricted angling won't close. It says here that heartened by quantum leap in salmon counts at Willamette Falls, 49 Saturday, 922 on Sunday, and a whopping 3,272 on Wednesday. You see how quick that can change? Within 3 days, we went from a 49 to over 3,272 on the Monday. Managers decided to allow this week's Thursday, Saturday season to continue. It says here, it said the Monday count was the highest one-day crossing since 1972. Kevin Blanche, where's your story? He's not going to share that with you folks. Again, this is from Oregon, the coast of Oregon on the west coast. I'm not making up this bullshit. It's time for you to get informed and stay away from the frauds who will do nothing but give you bad information. Jones biologists will keep monitoring the counts to ensure Falls Passage will surpass approximately 22,300. That's the number needed upriver to ensure both wild salmon spawning escapements and enough hatchery returns to meet egg-taking goals. So there we go. It's not dead everywhere, is it, eh? Again, he's not going to tell you the truth, okay? Shelter Cove salmon starting to show. A group of southern Humboldt anglers had a nice day salmon fishing on Tuesday out on the Shelter Cove with Jake Mitchell of Seahawk Sport Fishing. The salmon action finally started to pick up this week. Yeah, finally this week. And ocean conditions are looking good for a 3-day holiday weekend. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Can you imagine that? It says here there's a lot of krill showing up, and all the fish were plugged with it. That means they're full of it. That's right. If all the bait sticks around, the fishing should only get better. So again, the bait's not collapsing like it was, like we had back in 2015, 2016, you remember? And I believe it has to do with the Pacific blob. So again, another fresh story here. This one is the Copper River managers proceed cautiously after big king salmon takes. And this one here says in the first two commercial fishing periods of season last week, the salmon fishermen brought in 3,600 king salmon, according to Alaska Department of Fishery and Game. In-season harvest summaries: the first wild caught king salmon of the season. The fish garden in a record-breaking $50 a pound in lower 48 when they arrived last week. However, a low precession forecast of 29,000 kings and only about 4,000 fish, around 25,000 minimum escapement goal, led to complete closure of the sports fisheries on the Cooper River drainage for the king salmon, and led to a restriction on retention in subsistence fisheries. The Cooper River, which drains into the Prince William Sound east of Cordova and flows past rural communities in the interior, including Glen Allen and Chinita, is popular with sport anglers, host of subsistence fisheries in various areas using fish wheels, and a personal use fishery in Chinita area. The fish and games restrictions require the two fish wheels to be closely attended, requiring more frequent checking to prevent king salmon mortality. Personal use fishermen can't retain king salmon at all, and they're fishing for sockeye. So here we go. It's not collapsing. What do we have? Oh, we do have a closure, but this closing is in where? It says here that fish managers in southern central Alaska might still be wrestling with what to do about a weak return of king salmon to the Copper River, but their counterparts in southeast Alaska, have acted to protect the king salmon returning to Taku and Skitney rivers. So the Game and Fisheries Department here today announced commercial troll fisheries closures. Which catch most of the southeast kings, or Chinook as they otherwise call, will close at midnight Sunday. So yes, it's closing down. So here the forecast for the wild Chinook salmon production in southeast Alaska are at an all-time low. Not collapsed, but definitely at an all-time low. Nearly half the run has entered the river by the end of the third week. May, however, record low numbers in the Chinook salmon are being seen in river this year. So it's not, booming everywhere. And yes, we are definitely not out of the woods, but the fact is it's not collapsing everywhere. And what I'm going to do with you now is share with you, this is from the run forecast and harvest projections for 2017 Alaska salmon fisheries, and a review of the 2016 fisheries. So let's go right into the 2016 fisheries, and hopefully I didn't lose my page. I was at 39, hold on, right here. So, oops. Okay, so this is from the 2016 area. Oh, hold on, am I correct here? No, I had to back up a little bit, I believe, Commercial harvest summaries here. So it says that hold on a second. Okay, so Chinook salmon here. It says that the Karluk and Aquiluk Chinook salmon achieved their escapement goals. The 2016 commercial harvest of Chinook salmon in the KMA totaled 7,478 fish, which was below the previous 10-year average. Next one, the sockeye salmon 2016 harvest. It says that the harvest was slightly below the recent 10-year average. Okay, and next one was the Aquiluk Sockeye salmon, it said here a total of 141,747 of sockeye salmon were harvested on the west side sections, open based on equilook returns, which was well below the 2016 forecast of 266,000 fish. Fraser Lake and Upper Station sockeye salmon runs came in weaker than forecasted. However, both runs were strong enough to allow for limited commercial salmon openings in the traditional fishing areas. It says here that the sockeye salmon harvest was 86,867 fish, below the projected harvest of 182,000. In the Upper Station, a late run sockeye salmon run came in as weak as expected. And it said here that the district late rice was 96,400, which was above the forecasted harvest of 80,000. Now, moving on to the next one, it said that the again, you can the same area, I mean a different area here, Cape Equivac, whatever, and that this sockeye salmon harvested through July was the above the preseason forecast of 284,000 fish. They pulled in 326, so it's not collapsing everywhere. It's hit and misses, which is a point that I was saying. Depending where you are here, if you're hit with the Pacific blob, or depending if that species of fish was out in the Pacific Ocean in a specific area where the ocean was warmer than normal, those species may have been affected. So moving along here, it said that the if it appears that the sockeye salmon, okay, let's move on to the next one here. So terminal and special harvest areas. Okay, we'll go on right to each fish itself. So coho salmon, commercial coho salmon harvested. This again is all 2016, right? The majority of the coho salmon were caught in the west side fishery, and that was below the forecast of 330,000 fish. They only caught 206,540, and it was below the previous 10-year average of 329,000 fish. Going on to the pink salmon here, it says here that it was 3.2 million fish, was well below the forecast of 16.1 million fish, and the previous 10-year average harvest of 20.7 million fish. Big drop there. And the smallest harvest since 1975. So again, depends where you are. We have one area that they counted the most amount of fish since 1972, and now you're reading this another type of fish, the pink salmon, in the KMA area here. It was the lowest since 1975. So wild stocks pink salmon harvest was one of the lowest in the past 50 years. That's right, not very good, but again, it's not collapsing everywhere, and go get yourself informed on the Pacific blob and how the fish are affected with drought. Okay, this is very important. So I'm going to move on here. Sorry, hum and haw. I don't want to hum and haw too long, so we're going to hop along to the next one. Chum salmon, 879,000 fish, was below the 643,000 fish. And the Kitchubay hatchery chum salmon production was relatively weak, but came in as a forecast harvest of 72,000, which was over the forecast of 72,000 fish. So escapement summaries, fish counting weirs are operated on 9 systems. So here we go. The Chinook salmon on that area here came in at 8,126, was above the previous 10-year average. Again, the Chinook salmon escapement through the Karluk weir, 3,434, was within the biological escapement goal of 3,000 to 6,000 fish. Another Chinook salmon escapement through the Iqaluit River was 4,594, was within the biological escapement goal range of 4,000 to 8,000 fish. Sockeye salmon in many systems in the KMA were of average to below average. All the major systems met or exceeded their established escapement goals. The entire KMA estimated sockeye salmon escapement was 1.2 million fish, was slightly above the previous 10-year average of 1.220 fish. So yeah, up a little higher there on the sockeye salmon. Coho salmon, the only established coho salmon escapement goals occur in the northeast Kodiak and east side Kodiak districts of the following systems: American fish, Oles 1,000, Buskins 3,200, 700 fish, and the Paquosack Rivers 1,200 fish. At the time of this report, the finalist estimated escapement numbers had not been fully calculated here. It is estimated that coho salmon enters systems in the fall after weirs have not been removed and aerial foot and surveys have concluded. However, due to limited funding, the department no longer flies peak or late season salmon surveys, and the area-wide coho salmon escapement numbers do not reflect the actual KMA coho salmon escapement. So there you go. Now, what I want to do is finish up here with the overall chum salmon escapement of 280,000 fish was below the 10-year average for 375,738 fish. However, due to limited funding, the department blah 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 blah, it can't do the survey. So are the fish correct? I'm not quite sure, but we definitely do have lower numbers. It doesn't surprise me. Again, it's the drought. Get informed. Now I'm going to fast forward to page, where was it, 39. And what this does is the preliminary forecast of 2017 salmon runs to selected Alaska fisheries. So these are projected, and what it's going to actually do is show you also like previous. So the projection is the blue one, and the black line is actually the real numbers. So as you can see, we've actually been on a decline since like the 1980s, which is something I was telling in many of my videos. None of these guys that make the Fukushima stuff, I want to actually show you what's taking place, because it's going to contradict their fear-mongering bullshit, right? So actually, after the 2011 Fukushima meltdown, we actually had a spike here in the sockeye salmon run. So doom and gloom? I don't think so. Again, where's their test? Ask them all the time. When they're saying it's Fukushima, ask them, where's your proof? Where is your test? You've got no tests, no results, no data. In fact, that was one of the scams that Jeff Palco got scammed out of. He lent Dana Durnford, that guy I busted in Powell River here, debunked him. He lent him $25,000, actually more specifically $16,500, so Dana could buy a 24-foot long Zodiac, go out on the ocean and take test samples, marine samples, and have them tested to prove to everyone that it was actually Fukushima killing everything on the West Coast. Well, everything is not dead, and guess what? He never took a single sample and had it tested. No surprise there. Jeff Palco got screwed out of his life savings and then ended up taking his life over this. This is so bloody sad. So bloody sad. I can't believe that we are not united as a group here on YouTube to just deal with these fraudsters once and for all. Please unite. Please share this information. Go do, if you don't know anything about Jeff Palco, the late Jeff Palco, please do some research. This guy had such a damn good heart, and he got fucked out of his entire life savings. He fell into a big depression. You know, this is after hurting himself at work. The guy was out of work for the last 8 years. He was on a disability. So sad, that whole story. I don't want to get into it because it's just so sad, so sad, so sad. Anyways, I'm going to go on here. Chum salmon, again, you can see the numbers were actually declining since peaking out here around 1998. Long story short, it hasn't collapsed. It's bouncing up and down. And I'm going to go on to the next story here. So I'm going to leave a link down below to this person. He lives on the West Coast. He's he's got quite a few subscribers here. And what he does is he goes out fishing on the West Coast. As you can see here, crabbing on the Oregon coast, catching my biggest rockfish. So again, get informed. The guy goes out there, and there's quite a few videos for you to see if you don't know anything about fishing. You know, even in the surf, you know, you have Kevin Blanche going down to the surf. You know, he goes down on these sandy beaches with his camera and tells, look, everything's dead. Well, Jesus, Murphy, I mean, come on. He's not digging in the sand for any clams, and he's sure as hell not walking in the water. He's not fishing. There's no way for him to actually prove anything that he's saying. So I'm telling you right now, go watch this person, because at least with him, you're going to get the truth. I mean, he's not making up. He's not throwing fish there on his line. You know, there's quite a few videos. So you get to see him throw out the lure, and the video doesn't stop. So there's no hocus pocus bullshit. I mean, just look at here, the amount of, he went out trout fishing with his son. Anyways, it's not 94 or 95 or 98% collapse, because the guy would not be going down to the coast, walking along the shoreline, casting his fish and pulling a shitload of fish, right? Okay, so again, it's about facts. It's about stories. It's about connecting the dots. So I'm going to share with you again here some more information to help you get informed on all of this. And this one here is about a study that confirms the deadly disease in the BC salmon farms. So the salmon farms, actually, they're out in the ocean. The fish are stuck in these tight pens together, and yes, at times they do escape, and they're fed GMO food. In fact, they're fed all kinds of things. We have, I'm not going to get into this, but I have a friend of mine who actually works at one of these salmon farms up in Tofino, and he says, you know, I got a freezer full, an outdoor freezer. He says, you can have as many salmon fillets as you want. I don't eat that fish salmon. I was buying it, I was taking it for a while from the farm, and then I stopped. So he says, it's all going to go bad. You can have it all. And I asked him, why are you changing? He says, well, for one thing, I got to see what we were feeding our fish. And fish should not be eating dead cow meat or any other roadkill. So that's his number one thing. The pellets that they feed these fish come from South America, of all places. So someone in South America is picking up roadkill and whatnot, grinding it up, make it into a fish protein pellet, and feeding it to the salmon. So is this what's behind the deadly disease? I'm not quite sure, but I tell you what, when you're not eating what you're supposed to eat, usually you do get sick, or are more prone to get sick. So there is possibly the dot to connect here. However, again, there's no research, there's no data. I can't come out and say, you know what, the salmon are getting sick because of the fish that they're eating. You know, they're not eating fish, they're not eating other fish, they're not eating what they're supposed to eat, they're eating roadkill, you know. Think something that walks on dry land is suddenly ending up in the belly of a salmon, and then on your local restaurant. So he says, I do not, my friend said this, I do not eat fish salmon. He says even the meat itself, it's super soft and sloppy. It does not have the same texture as wild salmon. Anyways, I'll leave you a link down below if you want to watch this story, because it's a link to widespread virus. So again, it's about getting informed. It's not buying into the bullshit that these people are talking about on YouTube when they don't have a single shred of evidence to back up anything that they say. So I've been talking about this for a while. I'm hoping, I'm not even going to say her name right now, but there's a scientist here who's been dealing with the starfish die off. So I'm hoping to interview her shortly, and I've tried a couple of times. I never seem to be able to get her never seem to be able to get her at her desk. So anyways, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying, and as I continue finding more stories on this, I'll share it with you folks. But this is the latest one here, that the studies show that there's links between the PRV common and HSMI. So this is not good, and I believe, again, I got no proof of it, but I think I have something to do. It has to do with the fish salmon and what they're being fed. Anyways, I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to highly recommend again that if you haven't seen these videos, please go connect the dots, get informed on the Pacific blob and the salmon population. And the biggest one here, the study, or what I just put together a month ago, is where I made the connection with the drought and the salmon population. So take care, folks. Hope you get yourself informed. The links are all down below in this video. I'll talk to you soon.